This weekend was super challenging because we had a beer festival in Osan for 3 days, followed by a jiu-jitsu tournament right the day after. Just trying to get the ducks in order and getting everything packed and ready to go for these events was a lot of work. I think I was sleeping something like 4 to 5 hours a day trying to prepare for this, up to the beer festival. And then you get to the beer festival and you got this problem. All of your craft beer friends want to come, want to have a beer with you. Easily the weirdest festival of the year is the Osan Beer Festival. One of the first times that I almost decided to step away from competing and not compete. I'm really glad that I did step in, and the only reason why I did step in is because there weren't a whole lot of black belt competitors in the absolute division, which is an absolute shame. 2025, I think there's something over 500 black belts in Korea, most of which do not compete. So I decided to step up just to provide a form of entertainment for the people who are coming to the League Royale. And I've got some good news regarding League Royale. You know, we've got a lot of events coming up. Most of my focus is actually going to be on League Royale this year. Put a bit of my soul and life into that project. And the feedback for the beer that we've been making has been extremely, overwhelmingly positive. And so I feel like for the first time that if I just keep going down this path, that eventually we will end up getting the traction that I'm hoping that we had got when we first opened this business. I noticed a lot of the brewery owners are kind of looking side to side, trying to figure out, what is this guy doing that I could do that might give me a step up? What worked for me the most, stop paying attention to what other people are doing and just carve out a path that's not really been walked on in Korea. Like all of our beers right now in our lineup are all fruited. Fruiting a beer is not new, but trying to carve out an identity, like a California Korean fusion identity with fruited beer is something that hasn't been done in Korea. I haven't really actually had success until I literally just stopped paying attention to what everyone else is doing and really just try to focus on our strengths, focusing on what we can excel at that's extremely unique to our soul or our identity as Wildcat Brewing. Coming back to League Royale, I feel really good about the soul of League Royale, and the identity of League Royale was always a big hit before I had to step away from it. Leaning back into it now, I'm a little bit better equipped video-wise. I can speak Korean much better. I'm still just in love with Jiu-Jitsu as much as before. I'm just really excited about the big things that could happen with League Royale this year at all the big events that we're going to be having. We've been training really hard here. I'm actually pretty excited about the Sub Royale that's coming up. One of our students is going to be competing there. Sub Royale, for those of you guys who might not know, it's a round robin, submission only, no time limit event that we film and edit into a show. I've always submitted my students into the Sub Royale. Hongbi was one of our purple belts who competed at one of the first Sub Royales, and he actually won all of his matches. He went 6-0 and actually won the event, which is pretty cool. He won all 6 by armbar too, which is happens to be my favorite submission. We had Pilsu, who competed as a blue belt at the Sub Royale, and he kind of gassed out, didn't have the gas tank to really do well, came up a little bit short. This is the 3rd Sub Royale, and Wonu, our upcoming blue belt, he's pretty young. He's going to be competing at this one, and oh man, let me show you. These blue belts, they have such a big competition record. They've got so many medals. They have more medals than most gym owners in Korea do. This is just one kid, actually, let me say, because it starts from white belt. Each line is like a medal that he's won. This whole list here is medals that he's won. I don't think this kid is even like 20 years old yet, which is kind of crazy. There's another kid, it's his list of competition medals, and this one's a lot more condensed because the lines are just single spaced, but wow, look at all those medals that this kid's won. Overall, I'm just really excited to see how Wonu's going to do. Also excited to see him suffer. We grow closer together by suffering together. And just scrappy jiu-jitsu in general. I'm really excited to see some scrappy jiu-jitsu. So this is a new gi that I just got. I'm going to be competing at the Asian Open. All my competition gis are not IBJJF legal right now, which is a little unfortunate. They keep changing the rules. This one is IBJJF legal. I got a gi from the Muay guy. They didn't sponsor me, by the way. I didn't ask them to sponsor me or anything. It's been a while since I bought a gi, and I bought this one. Got flowers on it, you know. I didn't know they had flowers on it. I'm kind of not digging how thin this is, but the collar feels pretty good. Yeah, you want to have a thick collar. You don't want people to be able to, if the collar is too thin, they grab and try to break the grip and get stuck. I've been training hard for this Asian Open. It might be my last Asian Open as an adult. Only because in the past, I've always thought hey, I'm going to compete at the Asian Open and I feel like I can win the thing. And there was never really a doubt in my mind that I might be able to win the competition. But this is probably one of the first years where I'm going to be competing at the Asian Open and I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to win it. In fact, if I had to bet, I would say that it's not very likely that I'm going to win this competition, but I'm still going to go out there and see what I can do. Preparation for this one has been a little bit different. For the preparation for this one, I've actually been training less jiu-jitsu. Usually I'll try to do 10 plus sessions if I know I'm going to do something big, if I know I'm going to do a big event like the Asian Open. But for this one, I've only been doing maybe six sometimes 7. Weightlifting a lot, trying to put a lot of weight on. I'm stacked up to about 85.5 right now. I'm still pretty underweight, just wanted to get really strong. So I've been weightlifting probably 4 times a week. Usually I would stack up running 3, maybe 4 times a week to try to get into good condition. But instead of running, I actually signed up for F45. There's an F45 facility at my house. It couldn't get any more convenient because it's literally just on the basement 2nd floor of my building. So every morning at 7:30 a.m. I pop out, go to the 7:30 a.m. class, get 45 minutes of some explosive interval training, and actually just skip the running. I feel like I'm in better shape now than I have been in probably the past 2 years, maybe even 3 years. I haven't seen the brackets in a while. I think there's 14 of us. So in order for me to medal, I'd have to win at least 2 matches. And it doesn't really matter if I win or lose, but it would be nice to win the Asian Open sometime. God damn it. As we get older, like me and Jodian and the other black belt competitors, as we get older, the new guys are cropping up and the new guys are just so good. I don't know how much longer I can be doing this adult division realistically, because honestly, if you don't feel like you're gonna win the thing, it's hard to stay motivated. Good thing is I've always felt like I've been within one league, always thought that, hey, like I'm always within the league. Like on a good day, I could always win, even if there's like an opponent who's super good, because anything can happen out on the mats. So like one thing that I do want to say is like, whether competition or beer or business especially, like I believe in failing forward. And usually when I compete at League Royale, I am usually very busy and I've been doing a lot of work, kind of stressed out, maybe not optimal levels of sleep or rest before my competitions. This year and last year, I competed at some tournaments where I was doing delivery driving for beer, and man, driving takes it out of you. I don't let that become an excuse as to not competing. Like, and the reason why I talk about this is there's a lot of like prominent coaches here in Korea that I'll say, well, if you're going to compete, make sure it's only the important ones. You get these top competitors who only compete like maybe 3 times a year. And then they'll be like, oh, you gotta choose your battles wisely. You always have to be super well rested and prepared for this tournament. I kind of go the opposite. Like, unless you're going to the Worlds or the Asian Open or some really big tournament, just train through. Like maybe take 2 or 3 days off before the event and then just go to the competition. Don't make some huge ritual out of the competition, because when you start making huge rituals out of the competition, you're gonna get nervous. I think that's why I have this ability to perform really well, even when I am under high pressure, high workloads or stress. Competing itself is a skill that you can learn. And so when I see these other coaches teaching their students like that, I couldn't disagree more. Try to challenge yourself as much as possible, throw yourself out in as many competitions as possible, and get as much experience as you can, especially as you're up and coming. Just try to find as many challenges as you can and stay busy. You should never try to be perfectly prepared. I mean, for the Asian Open, I'm gonna be taking like a week off in Japan. I'm gonna take a week off and then I'm gonna compete. So I'm gonna be pretty optimally prepared. But even if I wasn't optimally prepared and I was super busy and I could just only make time for maybe 2-3 days out in Japan to go to the Asian Open, I would still just do it. Maybe I'd have 5% less of a good performance, but given the time and the chance that I have for that opportunity, to make that opportunity happen, like you just gotta take every single opportunity you have and not really make a big deal out of it. That's my super theory on business, life, and jiu-jitsu. Business especially, like, you really have to have that go-getter attitude in business to really succeed here, because people in Korea, they're so hungry to succeed. My mother had a rough week, man. She had a bout with pickles. We went to like this shabu-shabu place, and there's like a side dish of pickled radishes that she really likes, and she just went to town on them, made quick work of a whole bowl, to the point that I commented. I told her she needs to slow down a little bit. And I almost cut her off altogether, because that's a lot of pickles, man. It's like a whole bowl of pickles. I feel bad for my mom's stomach, but also kind of felt bad for the restaurant that they have to like lose so many pickles to one customer. She went and got a whole nother bowl full of pickles, man. A whole nother bowl full of pickles she went and got. And I was looking at it thinking, man, this is just spells disaster. And it spelled disaster. It was just like 2 days before I had to go up to the beer festival. I'm busy enough as it is. She starts having projectile vomit for like 30 minutes straight. She puked, I think, 20 times. And her vomit started turning kind of pink. So we were like, oh man, this could be like a medical emergency. You know, she might be puking up blood. I couldn't really tell if it was blood, if it wasn't blood. And we called the hospital. They told us that we need to. I rode the ambulance in Korea for the first time. They're like, you need to get in an ambulance and let the ambulance decide whether that's blood. If it is, it's only a few hospitals that'll accept her. And the hospital that we called told us that they wouldn't accept her if it was blood, because they wouldn't be able to treat her. So then like the medical people showed up in the ambulance, and I got in the ambulance, and they were looking at her vomit. And you could just see these huge chunks of like, just like these pickles that are just like half. Okay, so this is like the thing about Alzheimer's, like it progresses in a really weird way. the way it manifested in her, one of the symptoms that she's having right now is that she kind of forgets to eat sometimes, so she can go hungry, so we have to make sure that she doesn't starve. And then sometimes she can overeat, which is something that she did that day when she was eating all those pickles. She can't really seem to manage her portions because Alzheimer's kind of makes you forget like how much you've eaten. And in this case, for the very first time, she kind of forgot to chew. She was so busy inhaling all these pickles because they tasted so good that she ate 2 bowls full of pickles without really chewing them properly, and she's just throwing up all these pickles along with other food that was not like fully chewed. And I had to take her to the ER. Well, I mean, like I told the doctor that she had Alzheimer's, and they're like, oh, okay, like, it's really actually not that uncommon. You know, we had this like pickle trauma. I get back from the beer festival, and my mother she's like playing with the baby, and the baby like, you know, she's not like trying to scratch her, but usually if the baby swipes at you, you have to kind of like move your head out of the way. But my mother's kind of old and has Alzheimer's, and Ella was just, I think she was trying to grab her face or something and just clawed her in the eye. It actually scratched her eyeball. We had to take her to the doctor because her eye wouldn't get better after multiple hours, so we took her to the doctor. The doctor's like, wow, even a small scratch is extremely painful, but she has a big scratch, like a small chunk of her top layer of her eyeball is missing. So we put a pirate patch on my mother's eye. Not even been a week since she went to the ER because of all the pickles, and now she's missing like a small chunk of her eye. She's wearing a pirate patch. And she's just constantly scowling. She's just like, I shouldn't be laughing, but it's kind of hard to forget pain if it's just like always there. Well, the optometrist told us it's gonna be about a week. I keep making all these pirate jokes and she doesn't get it. Arr, there be plunder in the seas. I got my mother to say, arr, ahoy, matey. Arr, say arr. Arr? Arr, arr. Arr. No, with a arr, matey. Arr. Wearing her pirate patch. At any rate, like this trip in Oklahoma might be one of our last. Plug in all this like information about her symptoms and stuff to ChatGPT. Obviously, ChatGPT is not a doctor, but it's got a better idea of how this disease progresses better than I do. I don't really know about these things. Pretty realistic timeline says that in 6 to 18 months, she's not really gonna be able to remember stuff or enjoy stuff like trips to Okinawa. So a person my age, like what can I do for my mother that is actually good for her? Like, doesn't make sense to buy her anything. Like, we can eat nice food. Maybe we can go on trips that she can kind of like try to enjoy what precious and small amount of time we have left. The one thing I'm kind of most worried about is like Ella's too young to remember anything. So it's like if my mother fades away too quickly, Ella might not really remember her grandmother very well. Her grandmother might just be this person that she goes to visit at the hospital. I just hope that that isn't the case. Seeing these symptoms and these things that are happening with my mother, this trip to Okinawa is like nice, but it's like this is like this thing that I'm dealing with. This is like very sad. And I try to be lighthearted and try to make the most out of everything as much as I can. Yeah, there's like a very deep sadness that cuts into my heart as I think about this stuff. And it's just life there, you know.